Hi, I'm Jeff Ebbs and I'm here to tell you about a new tool for WordPress owners called PresentWP. It's a digital storytelling tool. So storytelling is the basis of culture. It's one of the main reasons we have developed language, because we use stories to explain things that we haven't experienced for ourselves. So we can learn things that we didn't see or that we didn't know by listening to other people's stories. And digital storytelling is obviously a major challenge for the modern age. So PresentWP offers WordPress site owners different ways to present the visual content in their site to their end users. It also gives the end users the ability to control those images for themselves. So on this display here, we can move these images across the screen and back again, and we can zoom in and out. And we see that a subset of images is jostling for position. So a certain set of parameters has been established by the site owner, and then random effects allow the story to be unfold. So let's look at a website that has taken advantage of this tool. Here is a site, Kayak.com, which tells the story of climate warrior Steve Posselt's journeys up and down rivers in Australia, the US, the UK and France. His latest book, Life Jacket, talks specifically about his journey to Paris for the Climate Change Conference in 2014. And this site here tells part of that story using PresentWP to show his journey up the Mississippi, across the US and up the coast of the US to New York. So we can see him paddling past the Statue of Liberty. It's the title of his book. And we can zoom in on the Statue of Liberty there and get a close-up, or zoom out again so that we can see Steve paddling past in his kayak. And again, we can control those images, moving them backwards and forwards across the screen. A major part of the story is his journey up a flooded Mississippi. So by stepping through the images from that part of the journey, we can visualise how difficult his struggle is. So this presentation here is just a simple selection of a set of images, no editing's taken place, just to show a part of that journey. The user can read part of the text here, watch the story unfold using the images. As a result of that struggle, Mississippi is a very big river, Steve was completely exhausted. And so against the picture of the exhausted Steve, we have images from the journey there, and this time the administrator has allowed us to pan up and down those images, so we can see Steve dragging his kayak over levees and paddling upstream as those images move through. To overcome the challenges there, Steve caught a ride with a barge, one of the Mississippi barges, to go upstream, and so this animation tells the story of the things he saw from the barge. But on this occasion, the site owner has given the end user the ability to pause the display, step backwards and forwards through it, so we can see him chatting to the crew, looking at the whirlpools on the river, so on and so forth. So there's an example of one of the crew members holding an earlier book of his about his journey from from Brisbane to Adelaide along the Brisbane River, and then the Darling and the Murray. So we'll leave Steve boarding the Queen Mary 2 in New York, off to paddle across the UK and across the Channel and up the Seine to France. And we'll have a closer look at PresentWP and how it actually works. Most of the presentations in PresentWP start with what we call the field of images. So the field of images is a grid-like display of all of the images in a site. Now, some sites will have more images than others, and so we can reveal those images by seeing the WordPress thumbnail. So the WordPress thumbnail is revealed just by rolling over the image, and then clicking on that image downloads the full image. We can do the same thing using a timeline, and we can go as fast or as slow as we like there, and then we can, when we've found the image we want, we can click on that to reveal the content and see it properly. So the field of images gives us a detailed way to display those images. We've already talked a bit about how the animation works. We might want to speed that up a bit to make the animation not just a step-through story, but actually a movie, and give the users the control to take control of their own ability to step through those images. It's a bit more interesting though when we start to combine images to create meaning. So, meaning's the combination of information. So in this case we can pan through the image to see the girls on Elvis's mind. So let's have a look at how we would create something like that using PresentWP. So we'll start with the we'll start with the floating visualization at the beginning of the screen, and we will use the controls provided for this particular thing. The first thing we might want to do is select the background and then select the image that we're going to display in the background. So instead of playing the sea, we'll pick a nice big picture of Elvis. But at the moment we can't see the part of Elvis's face we want, so we'll select the area of the photo that we want to demonstrate, and we'll position the floating sections so that they're on Elvis's mind, not over his face. And we don't want him dreaming about a random swimmer, we want him dreaming about, as the song says, girls, girls, girls. Find the images of the girls, and then we can display them as we want. Now that's all very well, we've got the end user using the tool. Let's save that as a WordPress page so that we can then put that on our site as a permanent feature of the site. So that's the basic way that PresentWP works. There's only a limited number of visualizations available at the moment, but they will roll out. At the moment we're working on making everything Gutenberg compatible. You can download the code and the developer documentation from the GitHub site, or you can just play with it here at presentwp.com and install it as a plugin